morning, sports world. Happy July 6th, Tuesday, as we have all survived the 4th and the 5th, and we're getting ready for another day full of sports. From Cape Cod to Tampa, from Vegas to the Vatican, we got you covered all around the globe. And I've been warning you guys. As you know, it's a doggy dog world out there, and sooner or later, it was going to take a bite at you. And guess what? It sure did last night. So, without further ado, let's bring our man with the plan from the Palm Tree State himself, Mr. Scott E. Webb. Scotty, my brother, I know you guys are embracing for Elsa. So what we figured we'd do is we'd get you in while, God willing, you still got some internet and power. How are you today?
Man, I am doing great. And as I look outside, I have lawnmower guys in my yard mowing the yard. So I think they are trying to get their work in before they get a couple days off. And, it's a calm before the storm, I guess.
Tampa and Cleveland already postponed. The Lightning in their gentleman's sweep, God willing, maybe might have a couple extra days off. We don't know. With their next game scheduled for tomorrow, I assume it is. We talk about this every day here at ECSI. What we try to do on our end is to fade the public. We are a contrarian, follow the market. The favorites had just been cashing in like a slot machine. And wouldn't you know, last night, favorites 2-9 last night. And at the bottom here, we just got a handful of some of these dog tickets. So let's just go over a few of these here. Cardinals plus 188, Braves plus 175, Phillies plus 140, Nationals plus 218, Indians plus 207, Tigers plus 157. Scott, your thoughts?
Well, I think that's baseball, right? I mean, that's one of the things that you see quite often, really. It's if you were to just say, hey, you know what, let's put the Atlanta Braves against the Pittsburgh Pirates, and you expect the Pirates to win 11-1, I think you're crazy. But that's what happened, right? I mean, that's exactly what happened. And then, it's one of those scenarios where, it's baseball is being baseball, and on any, they say this all the time, on any given day, right? Anything can happen. And they say that in football too, on any given Sunday, but it's not really the same because you got point spreads and other things. And it's not really where you're going to have the best team lose outright necessarily to a team that's, 10-point underdogs. But in baseball, you can have a minus 300 pitcher lose. And that's obviously why you don't necessarily go right out and start betting all that, because truth is your winning percentage has to be 90% or better just to even make money. So the reality becomes is pick your spots, do what you think is right, and then I think you can ride some of these waves. I mean, these are Major League Baseball players. You sometimes you might not have ever heard of them, but the truth of the matter is they're the best in the world. After watching the KBO for a year, you know that. I mean, it is what it is. They pitch better than everybody else. They hit better than everybody else. They feel better than everybody else. They are more athletic than everybody else, and it shows everywhere they play. And basically every team is deep with those kind of talented players. You just don't necessarily know who they are. That's all.
ECSI, our VIP team and family, was, and I said was, undefeated in baseball in July. We were 8-0 going into yesterday. We cashed the Marlins' first 5, so we got to 9-0. And then the game that both you and I were on the same side comes up short. Now, I really want to talk about this because for most people that were already in bed or that just are box scores guys that don't follow it pitch by pitch like I do, and I assume you do when you can, the box score states 5-2 Red Sox. but I am going to tell everyone to pump the brakes here because I'm going to give you a play-by-play what happened here. It was 2-1 Angels, okay, and then our starting pitcher Suarez just yeah. If you can't throw strikes against the Red Sox, you're doomed. And so gets a 3-0, 3-1 count against Devers, and Devers it leaves the ballpark. So it's 4-1, and in the first five, 4-1, you're scratching your head. You don't have a chance. That's what we say here. And then the top of the fourth, when you create a 4-out inning and an error, so now makes it 5-1. Well, now you throw the ticket up, okay? But we're going to backtrack because Kike Hernandez robbed the Angels of a 2-run homer. So there's 2 runs right there, okay? Take out the error because it's hard enough to get a major league team out in 3 outs. When you create 4 and 5 out innings, they're gonna score on you, okay? But then here comes the Red Sox defense again. Santana guns a Angel guy out at the plate. So there's another run. And then to add salt into the wound, you got a guy on first, 1 out, and you hit a gap shot, and you try to turn the single into a double, and Kike throws another guy out at second. The Sox lead the major leagues in assists with 29 right now. I don't understand what the rest of the league, they're either not watching, not seeing, or they're just like, whatever. They can't throw us out again. Note to MLB managers. Do not run on the Red Sox outfield, period, end of discussion. I had this game 5-4 Angels after 5. That's what it should have been. Nuts.
Well, it's what do they say? Football's a game of inches, right? You can almost say the same thing about baseball if you really track it right. And I think you're right. I mean, baseball is a game of momentum too. So, you get a couple guys that do some amazing things, and then everybody else kind of jumps on the same bandwagon. And then all of a sudden you got some amazing things happening all over the place, whether it's offense or defense. And defense saving runs matters in single games like that, unbelievably so. Down here in Tampa, I always get into arguments with people down here about the Rays and how they think value to the defense actually wins several games a year, which in theory it probably does. But I'll take pitching and hitting over defense any day. And the truth of the matter is that you can score more runs if you hit the ball where the other team's not, and you can defend better if your pitcher's really good. But defense does matter. It really does, and you can see it in a series, for example. Like and it needs to be part of the handicap. If you're betting a series price and you're not playing and understanding how much value defense has to one side over another, then you're not really valuing it properly, because to a degree in a series, if you got to win 3 out of 4 or whatever it is, you got to win a best of 3. So you win 2 games, or if you win 4 out of 7, you're not going to give a game away. You have to get beat. And if you have to get beat, then that means the other team has to perform. And sometimes other teams, we'll just say the Yankees, for example. The Yankees don't win unless the other teams allow them to. So they get on base via error, then a walk, and then some kind of wild pitch, and then all of a sudden some other fielder's choice happens and they scored a run. They didn't get any hits. So that happens a lot in baseball. It's just people don't watch
it. And I know from experience watching the MLB, the teams with the highest payroll, as you know, don't always win. Baseball is that chemistry sport, and you put a team that believes in themselves, as you just talked about, each player picking up each other. Every day's a different day, a different guy. For the Red Sox, Renfro's been gunning people out at home plate. Cora moves Kike Hernandez to the leadoff spot, and next thing you know, he's Ricky Henderson and leading the games off with homers all of a sudden. The outfield has just been amazing with their assists right now. A bunch of starters that smoke and mirrors. The Red Sox legit don't have the Pedro Martinez's of the world, the Chris Sales of the world right now, the Roger Clemenses of the world, and their bullpen. There's no marquee name back there, but they're just the Whitlocks of the world, the Taylors of the world, Barnes with 19 saves. I mean, it's a team that believes in themselves, and I'm going to tell you, it's a team that everyone's waiting to falter. And I always, when I talk Red Sox, I talk about Tampa with you, and I always add the Giants. The same thing with the Giants right now. We're just waiting for them to fall. I mean, a bunch of no-names, young kids, and veterans that have started to believe. Moving forward, if you had a crystal ball right now and we talked September 1st, assumptions in the AL East, assumptions, will it be Houston in the AL, and then out in the National League, the assumption that it will be the Dodgers, and we're going to assume the Padres pass the Giants, and then it will be what? Do the Giants hold on to make the playoffs?
Well, I'm looking at currently. I'm looking at Fangraphs and what they are projecting for the rest of the season currently. And what's interesting is Dodgers to win 99 games, Padres to win 93 games, Giants to win 92 games. The other divisions, the Brewers to win 90 and the Mets to win 89. So you got the Mets, the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants all in. And that means everybody else is not. And theoretically, that's where they are now, right? I mean, the Mets, the Brewers, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Giants are all right there right now. It's over. I mean, you can think of it that way, right? I mean, that's kind of how it looks. And then in the American League, it's a little bit the same way, right? They got the Red Sox at 95 wins. They got the White Sox at 90 wins and the Astros at 95. So those are your division winners. And then you've got the Oakland A's at 88 wins and the Tampa Rays at 89 wins. Those would be your wild cards. But what's a little interesting is that they got the Blue Jays at 87 wins, the Yankees at 87 wins, the Angels at 83 wins. So those more competitive in terms of who might win the wild card and who might go on a little bit of a run and that kind of thing. So the American League is not necessarily a set in stone issue, but I think the National League signed, sealed, delivered.
Let me go back to that because we released what we thought was some value last week on a team that was on a roll and got to 500, and then they lose their top two players at the top of the order, and that's the Nationals with Schwarber and the Nationals with Trey Turner, and obviously the speculation with the plus 3,000. They were plus 650 to win the division. They were plus 3,000 to win the NL and 6,000 to win the World Series. And with the speculation that Strasburg would come back and be healthy, where does Fangraphs have the Nationals right now?
Nationals 79 wins, 4 games under 500. Phillies 81 wins, Braves 82 wins, Mets 89 wins. So fourth in the division, 6 games above the Marlins at 73 wins.
All right. Well, it's not confetti yet. It's a wait and see, and that's what we'll do. We'll wait and see. So let's bring up the board today. Kind of an interesting board as always. We have the one cancellation again, and that's your Tampa Rays as they embrace Elsa. Let me bring this up here. Have a few boxes checked off. What overnight and this morning, what it kind of intrigued us initially, very short number with the Dodgers. Opened up 118 at Pinnacle, 119. Goslin versus Lopez. Miami stopped the 11-game winning streak last night. Cubs are reeling. I think that's 10 in a row now. They lost Nola versus Arrieta. It would be something that we would be eyeing the first 5 and staying away from that bullpen there. The White Sox in Minnesota. Minnesota has just been a gas can. Good matchup, though. Rondon versus Berrios. The snub starting pitcher for Oakland, Bassett, who I think is going to get in anyways. As a lot of people would say initially, great value here, catching them plus 136 versus a Houston and Valdez. And then again, back to my Red Sox here. A little flip reverse line movement again on the Angels today. Evaldi versus Shohei. They did open up at Pinnacle minus 104. We're seeing minus 112 and 113 on the Red Sox. Opening thoughts on the board today. What are you seeing?
Well, I think it's kind of interesting when I was looking at it. We've got some pretty good pitchers throwing today, and some that you might not have thought of. I mean, obviously, when you start to look at it, DeGrom's the leader of the world in pitching, and he's throwing today, so that's kind of interesting. One thing that really caught my eye was Nola, right? Because at the beginning of the season, everybody thought Nola was going to be one of those top tier pitchers this year. And the truth of the matter is he's barely better than average. But this is where utilizing some strategy can help a little bit. So using the advanced metrics that actually predict the future, his Sierra number is a 2.69. So that's really, really, really good. As a matter of fact, it's the second best on the board today, only behind DeGrom. His strikeout rate is 36%, again, only behind DeGrom. His swing strike percentage is 13.2%. So he's getting guys to swing and miss a lot, especially at strikes. So one of the things that you got to start to think about is, well, how's he losing? What's going on? Well, his batting average against is 267. But his batting average of balls in play is 382. So that is an unfair, unrealistic number to uphold, 382, especially when your batting average is .267 against. So that means he has been extremely unlucky in where balls have been hit. So balls just haven't been hit to fielders. His stuff has been really good. So I like this matchup today. I like it a lot, and it's one of my plays. And like you talked about as a first five, that's where I went with it. And I played it both ways. First five, Nola minus 135, and then I played it first five minus a half a run minus 115, and I played it both ways because Arrieta he's a gas can. He's got a 20% strikeout rate, a 12% walk rate. His swing strike percentage is 6.8%, means he doesn't get anybody out with swings and misses. He's got a 1.78 whip, so almost two guys getting on base per inning. And what's interesting is we just talked about how high the BABIP number is for Nola. His is 305, but in comparison to his batting average of 274 against, that's not much difference. So the truth is that you kind of have to look at that number and then play it out versus what the average is. And if it's 60 points difference, that's when the guy's unlucky. I don't think he's been unlucky. So his hard hit rate is 37.5%. He's given up 2.29 home runs per 9 innings. So I just think that they're 0-10 in their last 10. This is Nola's game to lose, and I'm going to bet on him to win it.
We do agree as well. Like I said, we've been staying away from that back end of the Phillies. It petrifies us. So with that said, we'll be eyeing the Phillies' first five. I'm assuming that number is going to be even higher as we get closer to post time. Might take a look at the minus half run if you start to get into that 145, 150-ish. But some people, again, it's only juice when you lose. They go in with that non-fair factor. But we'll be looking at both ends of those. So what else do you see?
Well, I was kind of curious, just like you were, about the Oakland and Bassett pitcher, right? So in looking at his numbers, his game score for the season is 62. 62 is really, really good. I mean, that's what you would consider an ace type pitcher. Rodon is 66, and of course DeGrom is out of the world. He's at 73, for God's sakes. So the reality is that he's a top tier pitcher, but he's not really a strikeout guy. So there's a lot of balls that get put in play, but he's got such good stuff that the batting average against is only 195. He only allows one guy on per inning, that kind of stuff. So it's really, really good. He doesn't give up the home runs. So I was looking at it and I'm like, well, why is he such a big underdog? And the truth is because Valdez is pitching today, and Valdez, he's only pitched 7 starts, so he hasn't made a whole lot of starts this season. He got off to I guess an injury, and then he had to overcome some stuff, and now he's been made 7 starts. Over his first 7 starts, his game scores a 62 as well. So now you got an ace versus an ace. And then when I looked at it, you got the Oakland on offense currently right now over the last 7 days, they are ranked 30th in baseball in hitting. 30th. There's only 30 teams, so that can't be very good. So I don't like the idea that there is a ton of value there in Bassett that I thought might have been there before. I don't like to pay the price, but at the same time, if I were going to take sort of a dog that might bark, I might look at Wainwright instead of Bassett.
And you bring up a great point here, okay? Because there's 2 teams here, Houston and Oakland, that are, again, right there in the playoff hunt, as we'd like to say. In my eyes, in my experience, the line is opened up at a higher price, almost like enticing the Oakland A's here. In other words, Bassett, great pitcher, going to keep them in the game. You're getting them at a plus 133 price, which is a great price. But when you really crunch it down and you look at the fine tooth there, you can actually, as you just said, you can actually see why Houston is the favorite that they are. And you brought up a great point with Wainwright, because I didn't bring him up here, but I'm going to do it now, okay? You got a San Francisco team again that is right there at the top of the West, has had a phenomenal season. Maybe it's Johnny Cueto. He's reborn. I don't know what to say there, because I have tried to fade him, and every time you look up, he's in the 6th inning and they're winning 2-0. But what I just said, I will say again. They only opened up minus 130, okay? And they're getting 77% of the bets, 67% of the money. And so the tickets and the money are moving in the right direction. But again, what I just said about Houston and Oakland, I'll say about this game. That minus 130 is almost there to entice you to take the home team in Cueto and the Giants. So I'm on the same page with you with the Cardinals. Thoughts?
Yeah, Johnny Cueto's been an average pitcher for the season. In his last 7 starts, he's a game score of 45, so well below average. And he's been hit, so he doesn't strike guys out. He's got that goofy motion, which I think is what he tries to do to offset some of the stuff that happens. But the truth is, the Cardinals have a lot of veteran players, so I don't think this stuff's going to matter to them, what he does. If he herky-jerky, stop, turn around, Louis Tiant stuff, I don't think that's really going to matter. I think that you have a better pitcher in Wainwright, which is unbelievable for me to say after all these years and what he's done. But he is the better pitcher today, and not only is he better pitcher, he's by far the better pitcher. So I don't mind having St. Louis. I have them as sort of a lean type play, where I have 2 games I played and 2 teams I have as lean type plays, and he's the underdog that I thought was probably the best value on the board on my mind with that going into today.
All right. Lastly, on my page, we have 2 of our longtime VIP members heading to the Angels game today, courtesy of ECSI. An amazing matchup of Eovaldi versus Shotani. Sox win the home the first game of the series 5-4 last night. Evaldi opens up as a short favorite, 115, currently 113. 60% of the bets, 58% of the money, all coming in on the Red Sox, yet the line has dropped 2 cents there. Thoughts on this matchup?
Well, I think that what surprised me when I looked at it was not that how good Evaldi is pitched, but really how he's pitched, right? So you think of Evaldi as a guy that throws 96, 97 miles an hour, so he's going to have big strikeouts. Truth is, he doesn't. His strikeout rate's 19.5%. So that means that you get balls in play against him. But what he's done that I don't think people really realize, he limits the walks. It's 3.9% walk rate, very low, top 10 in baseball. And what that allows them to do is not get beat and not have big innings against him. And that's how the Angels score and win. They score and win on not consistency from inning to inning to inning, from a walk and then a base hit and then a home run, and they get 3 runs. That's how the Angels score, kind of like what the Yankees used to do. And then Ohtani's been one of those guys that's been a strikeout machine, but at the same time, he's a walk guy. His walk rate is 11%, so he puts guys on base. So I kind of like the idea that the Boston Red Sox can capitalize against the Angels. It's just it's sort of a give and take here, but I mean, you look at one team supposed to win 95 games, we just said, and the other team's supposed to win 83. So the Boston Red Sox are 12 games better than the Angels. So and then they've got their best pitcher pitching today. So why wouldn't you not bet on the Red Sox?
I agree. At some point you just got to wave the white flag. We pick and choose. We'll take shots in the first 5 when we have to. Taking looks at team totals. Trying to keep peeling that onion back, Scott, to find values, to find edges, to stay away from bad back ends, yada, yada, yada. So with that being said, the stage is yours. Tell the world where Scotty is, where Scotty's playing today, and to give out the winners for us.
Well, I talked about that Phillies game, and that one's one of my favorite plays today with Aaron Nola. I just like the idea that he's pitching really well, and that his results have not been as good as his pitching performance is. He's been very unlucky, and you can prove it. So because he's been unlucky, that over the course of time just evens out. So at some point in time, they're going to start hitting it to fielders, and he's going to get out of these innings. So I went ahead and I played him in the first 5 innings, again on the money line and on the first 5 minus on the run line, which is -0.5. So it's -135 I got, and then -0.5 a run, -115 is what I played for that game. And then one of the games that I played, and we had a conversation, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, and it was about a pitcher for the Cincinnati Reds named Luis Castillo, and what has he found, and is he good, and all that stuff. And I think he's back. I am full on go with Luis Castillo today against the Kansas City Royals, and I'm so much on him. I played him -1.5 on the run line, which I got at -105. The reason being is that he has been dynamite over his last 7 starts. He's at a 60 game score, which is what aces do. But what I watch for, and we talked about it before, is his ground ball rate. If he's a ground ball pitcher and he wasn't getting the ground balls, now his ground ball rate is 59%. So 60% on 6 out of the 4 balls that are hit are all on the ground. That means less damage. That means he's in good shape when it comes to not giving up home runs. In fact, over his last last month, his home run rate is 0. He's given up none. So you have to beat this guy, and he does have control issues in terms of the walk rate, but he is getting his strikeout rates back up. His Sierra number is 3.93, but he's facing a guy today in Bubic that is I don't know. He is the second worst, if not the worst pitcher well, Urania is the worst pitcher today, but Bubik's the worst pitcher going for second pitch on the board. His game score for the season's of 38. He's a 4-inning guy, so he's like the bulk guy, right? So he doesn't get to start many games. He usually comes in after the opener and goes from there. But his strikeout rate's only 19%. His walk rate's 12, almost 13. His batting average against is 321. He's allowing 2 guys on base per inning. And his hard hit rate is 53.7%. I'm not sure I've seen it that high before. So more than half of the balls hit are over 95 miles an hour against him. So I like the idea that the Reds are going to capitalize. And then anytime that I play a game like this, I want to look at what the bullpen's like. And the Kansas City Royals bullpen right now is 29 out of 30 teams. So that means that once it gets to the bullpen part, that Cincinnati can still keep scoring, which gives me the minus the 1.5 there, which is what I played. So I talked about St. Louis as kind of more of a lean game. And then like you, I kind of like that Miami Marlins team. I like Lopez. I don't like Gosselin for the Dodgers that well. So I don't mind them at plus a half a run in the first 5 innings, but you got to pay 130 for that. So that would be a lean for me, and I don't really like them plus the 110 only because they only have a couple guys that are really hitting. So if you were to keep it at a 0-0 or a 2-2 kind of game through 5 innings, I'd be happy with that. So I would play it as the plus a half a run on the first 5.
So on your cards play, would you lean more first 5 or for the full game?
I would take the full game in the cards. I'm not real worried about the San Francisco bullpen. I know they have a good bullpen, but I don't think that that's the where I would go. My concern would be is that I think that they're 10th right now, their bullpen. But I don't think that they're going to lose the game in the back end. I mean, St. Louis doesn't have the greatest bullpen in the world, but I do like the idea that they're going to throw guys they've seen. You know, San Francisco is going to throw guys that St. Louis has seen. Goldschmidt, Arenado, and Molina, and all those guys I've seen. All these guys, so it's nothing new to them. And I don't think that they're going to have any issues with the bullpen.
And the close here, you said Phillies first 5 minus the 135. And did you also say minus the half run first 5, or did you look into the full game?
Nope, I didn't play them full game. I only played them. I played them in the first 5 in both. Much like you, I don't like the Phillies bullpen, but additionally, the Chicago bullpen's been a disaster too. So I did not go that route. I mean, my thought is that the advantage is Nola over Arrieta, and it's a big advantage. So I like that idea. When you get into the bullpens, with both bullpens being terrible, it's not one of those things where you have an edge. And, you know, all it takes is a home run by one guy, and all of a sudden they get 3 runs, and then you lose the game. So I decided to stay. I just thought there was good value on both sides. I make that line for Nola a little bit higher than what it is. You know, Chicago Cubs are going to be, you know, one of those teams that are 4th in the Central, and the Phillies are going to be, you know, a 500 type team. So they're a better team, and you got their best pitcher going against, you know, Arrieta, who's, you know, pretty much washed up at this point.
I agree here. So let's get off this for the close here. 1 second. All right. It's Tuesday. It's been a great Sunday, Monday, Tuesday with you having you back on the show. The next few days, obviously, will be sketchy. Thoughts and prayers to everyone in your area as Elsa comes through. The first and hopefully the last, but unfortunately, we know that will not be the I won't even set an under over at around 4.5 this year. How many threats that you get versus how many direct hits? It's almost like we're playing you sunk my battleship between, is it coming, is it not coming? So your sports following the numbers, the charts, the graphs turns into almost meteorology and following those graphs and stuff.
It does. There's no question it does.
And so you're in a tough spot, but you got our eyes fully on you guys. We can't thank you enough, Scotty. You got us on speed dial, obviously. And with that said, we're going to give you the final word here for Tuesday.
Well, let's just say it this way. I know that storm is coming to my doorstep, but at the same time, this is not something that would be considered a major storm. It doesn't mean that it won't knock over a tree branch and it hits a power line and I don't have power or something. But the truth of the matter is it's more of a rain event for us. And if we might get 4 to 6 inches of rain on top of all the rain we've already gotten. So there might be some flash flooding and some stuff like that around. But this is not going to be a major event for us in a way that blows roofs off and you have to worry about whether you have a house standing afterwards. So for that, I'm thankful. And, it's one of those deals where most people are going to work today and they're gonna, I don't know about tonight. I mean, tonight's a different story, but at least during the day, it's not here yet. So it's right on our doorstep coming. About 2 o'clock is when the weather's going to start deteriorating, and then it won't get better until Wednesday afternoon. So we got about 24 hours of bad weather, but it's not. I don't want people to fret thinking we're in life-threatening conditions, because we're really not. And as we go forward, it's no big deal. And I just want power so I can watch the games and make sure that we're ready to go and and that kind of stuff.
All right, you heard it right there from Scotty. He will keep us updated on Elsa. We have our own inside scoop here from Elsa. I will be batten down the hatches here on Cape Cod. We're actually getting some winds already today. Kind of comical. I was thinking you guys as we were getting ready for the storm. I have no idea where this storm is going. Hopefully out to sea. Sometimes usually pops in and says hello to North Carolina or something, and then takes a sharp right. So from East Coast sports investors, Cape Cod, Tampa, Florida, we wish you all the best. Always wager and invest with your head, not your heart. If you're having some issues and problems, please reach out. Until now, we wish you the best of luck, and we will see you tomorrow.